All right, are you ready? Let's dive in. Today, we're tackling practical English phrases just for you.
We're bringing down a super popular language learning podcast episode.
Exactly. We want to find those little phrases, the ones that'll help you, sound like a natural.
And fast.
Oh, yeah. Quickly. We're going way past, hello, how are you, though?
Much further.
This is like your secret weapon to handle any situation, like ordering food, making friends.
Even exploring a new city effortlessly.
That's the dream, right?
It can feel overwhelming. Learning a new language, it's like a mountain of grammar and vocabulary.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
But the good news is, you don't have to climb the whole mountain to actually start speaking.
I like that. So this deep dive is like a shortcut.
Exactly. Think of it that way. We're focused on the phrases you'll actually use out in the real world.
Okay, love the shortcut idea. Let's talk first impressions then. Greetings and introductions.
I remember when I first started traveling, oh man, it was so awkward trying to greet people. Greetings are fascinating. They're more than just words,
Really?
It's like they're social cues that tell you about politeness, how to connect with someone. They even show you those subtle differences between cultures.
Huh, interesting.
Like, take a hi, how are you? Seems simple, right?
Yeah, totally.
But even that can be formal or informal. It all depends.
So true. Sometimes it's casual, sometimes it's more serious sounding. How do you know which way to go?
Well, you got to understand the nuances. Like, hi is usually informal. Hello is a bit more formal.
Okay.
And how are you?
Cut.
Often it's just something you say, not a real question about how someone's doing.
So it's all about reading the room and then adjusting how you're talking.
You got it.
Makes sense. What about introductions? Is nice to meet you always the right thing to say?
It's a good start, for sure. But there are other ways to say it that sound more formal or maybe more excited.
Give me an example.
Okay, so it's a pleasure to meet you. That's more formal. Or great to meet you if you want to be friendly and casual.
Oh, I see. So we're not just memorizing phrases, we're learning how to use them right.
Exactly.
It's like having a code book for how to talk to people.
That's a good way to put it. Understanding the code is key. Like, imagine you're meeting someone new for work. Instead of just saying, nice to meet you, try, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard great things about your work.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds much better. Like you're actually interested in them. Okay, so greetings and introductions, that's the start. But what about, the rest of the day when you need to actually say stuff?
Let's get into that. Let's talk about those daily routine phrases, the ones that help you from the moment you wake up.
The morning routine. Coffee, breakfast, trying to get ready for work without losing your mind.
And in all that chaos, there are so many chances to use these everyday phrases. Instead of, I'm getting ready for work, you could say, I'm off to work. Or, I'm heading to the office.
Oh, yeah. That sounds way more natural. I feel like I'm already sounding more fluent just hearing that.
It's all about the nuances. Even small changes to how you phrase something can make a huge difference in how you sound.
All right, so morning routine's done. What about when we're actually out in the world? Shopping, eating.
Perfect examples. That's where these practical phrases really come in handy. Think about it. You strolling into a store, no problem. You ask for help, you know what to say at checkout.
Okay, stop. You're making me feel confident already, but let's break it down. Shopping first. What are the key phrases?
Excuse me, for sure.
Right.
That one's like a magic word. You can use it for so many things.
Oh, yeah, like what?
To get someone's attention, to ask for help politely.
Makes sense.
So you could say, excuse me, do you work here? Or, excuse me, could you help me find?
Excuse me. Definitely going in my English phrase book. What about when I'm ready to buy something? How do I ask about the price?
How much is this? Simple and polite, gets the job done. And if you're feeling brave, you can even try to bargain a little.
Ooh, how do you do that?
Something like, is that your best price?
Bargaining. That sounds like a fun challenge. But honestly, the hardest part of shopping for me is finding the right size. Any tips for that?
Totally. You can ask, do you have this in a different size? Or do you have this in a size? And then say the size. And if you're not sure about the sizing, just ask, could I try this on?
Perfect. perfect. I feel like I could handle any store now. But you know what else can be tough?
What's that?
Eating out. Trying to order food in another language.
That's a classic. Especially when you get a menu and it's all in English. But don't worry, we got this.
Okay, lay it on me. What are the essentials?
First things first. Can I see the menu, please?
All right, got it. Can I see the menu, please?
And once you've looked it over,
I'm ready to order.
I'm ready to order. Those are going in my mental phrase book. What about when you actually have to order the food? Sometimes those dish names are hard to pronounce.
You don't need to be a chef to order food. Just say, I'd like the, or I'll have the, and then the name of the dish. And if you're not sure about something, ask.
Like what? Could you tell me more about this dish? Or what's in this?
Much better to ask than to get a surprise you don't like. Okay, what about when it's time to pay? How do you ask for the bill politely?
Could I have the bill, please? Is good. Or check, please, is more casual. And always check it over before you pay, just in case.
Feeling much better about restaurants now. We've done greetings, the morning routine, shopping, eating. What else is there?
How about those little polite phrases, the ones that make any conversation smoother?
Ooh, yeah. I'm all about being polite, especially in a new place. What are the must-knows?
So, excuse me, we already covered that one. It's super versatile. But the other big ones are please and thank you. Those two, they're like magic in any language.
You're right, they're so small, but they really change how people see you. What about apologies? Is there more than one way to say I'm sorry?
You bet. It depends on the situation. Like greetings, there are formal and informal ways to apologize.
Ah, okay.
So sorry is fine for little things, but I'm so sorry is better if it's something more serious.
I'm realizing these polite phrases, they're not just words, there's more to it. It's about using them the right way.
That's it. And the more you use them, the easier it gets. It'll become second nature, you'll see.
This is awesome. I feel so much more confident already, and I can't wait to hear what else we'll learn in the next part of our deep dive.
Welcome back to our deep dive on everyday English. We've talked about greetings, phrases for your daily routine, even how to handle shopping in restaurants. But now
it's time for travel.
yes, it's like the ultimate test, right? Using your English in a whole new place.
Exactly. So this part of our deep dive, it's all about those essential travel phrases, for when you need help, want to talk to the locals, or just navigate the world without stress.
I love it.
And remember, you don't have to be fluent to have an amazing trip.
That's good to hear.
Just knowing a few key phrases can make a huge difference.
I've always admired those travelers who just blend right in no matter where they go.
Right.
It's like they have this secret language
Yeah.
that opens doors and helps them connect with anyone. Well, maybe it's not so secret. One of the most useful phrases for any traveler is, where is the nearest?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's how you find anything. Bus stops, train stations, even those hidden gems that only locals know about.
Okay. Yeah.
Where is the nearest ATM? Where is the nearest market? You name it.
I can see it now. Me confidently asking for directions, finding all the best spots.
Exactly.
But what about when you're totally lost and you need someone to point it out on a map?
Can you show me on the map?
Yeah.
Always a lifesaver.
Perfect.
And most people are happy to help. You might even strike up a conversation, get some insider tips. Don't be shy. Point to something on the map and say, is this near?
It's like a treasure hunt with a map as your guide. And speaking of guides, what about booking tours or figuring out transportation?
For tours, you can ask, are there any tours available? Or do you offer guided tours? And if you're trying to get around,
How do I get to?
how do I get is your best friend. How do I get to the city center? How do I get to the airport?
These phrases are like keys to unlock any city. But what about when you need to say something more specific, like booking a hotel room or asking for the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, those are essential. For hotels, start with, I'd like to book a room.
Okay, good to know.
And of course, we all need that Wi-Fi. Can I have the Wi-Fi password, please?
I feel so much less stressed already just thinking about it. Checking into my hotel, getting online, no problem. But let's be real. Even if you know all the phrases, sometimes communication can still get tricky. What do you do when you just can't understand someone, or you don't know how to say what you need?
That happens to everyone. The important thing is to stay calm, be patient, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Could you repeat that, please? Could you speak more slowly? Simple things like that can make a huge difference.
Much better than pretending you understand and ending up in the wrong place.
Exactly.
What about using your hands, gestures to explain something? Is that okay, or should you always try to use words?
Gestures can be super helpful, especially when there's a language barrier. Don't be afraid to point, act things out, even draw pictures. It's all about getting your message across. Sometimes your body language can be just as powerful as words.
I love that. It's like giving yourself permission to use whatever it takes to communicate. But I've always wondered, what about humor? Can you be funny in another language even if you're not fluent?
Humor is tricky because it's so connected to culture. What's funny in one place might not be funny somewhere else. But that doesn't mean you can't try. Even just smiling and being lighthearted can go a long way. It can break the ice.
It's true, a smile is universal. But speaking of language, let's talk about polite conversation. We already mentioned please and thank you. What else can help us make a good impression?
Excuse me is another superstar phrase, especially when traveling. You can use it to get someone's attention, to apologize if you bump into someone, to politely leave a conversation.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of phrases.
It really is. And remember, a little politeness goes a long way. It makes people feel good.
So true. It's amazing how a few words can change how someone sees you. But let's be honest, even if you're super polite, sometimes you're gonna have awkward moments, especially in a new culture. How do you handle those gracefully?
Those moments happen. It's part of travel. The key is to have a sense of humor and be willing to learn. Remember, you're a guest in another country. So be respectful of their customs and traditions. If you're not sure about something, ask. Most people are happy to explain their culture and help you avoid those awkward situations.
Right. It's about being open to learning and seeing those unexpected moments as a chance to grow. Speaking of growth, let's talk about pronunciation. It can be a big challenge for language learners.
It's true, pronunciation is important, and it takes time to get it right. Remember that exercise we talked about earlier? Repeating phrases out loud?
Like a parrot. I've tried that. Feels a bit silly, but does it really help?
It might feel silly, but it works. You're training your mouth to make the right sounds.
Oh, okay.
It's like learning a new dance move. You got to practice to get it smooth. And just like with dancing, the more you practice, the better you get.
I like that analogy. Makes pronunciation seem less scary, more like a fun challenge. What about those sounds that are just like impossible to get right? Any tricks for those?
Absolutely. Break down the sound into smaller pieces. Practice each piece until you get it.
Okay.
You can also listen to native speakers and watch how their mouth moves. Try to copy them. And record yourself. Listen back to see what needs work.
Okay, I'm writing this down. Break down the sound, copy the native speakers, record myself. I'm ready to conquer those pronunciation demons.
But sometimes the hardest part isn't the pronunciation itself, it's the fear of messing up, sounding weird.
Everyone feels that way. It's totally normal. But remember, fluency is a journey. It's not about being perfect right away.
You're right.
So celebrate those little wins. Every new word you learn, every time you say a phrase confidently, those are all wins. And when you make mistakes, that just means you're learning and getting better. That's a good way to look at it. It's about progress, not perfection. And speaking of enjoying the process, how to make language learning fun?
So many ways. You can watch movies or TV shows in English, listen to podcasts, even try reading a book or a magazine.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And connect with other language learners, online or in person. You can share tips, practice conversations, help each other out.
It's amazing how many resources there are for language learners now. Apps, online courses, language exchange partners. It's like the world is your classroom.
It is. And with so many options, there's something for everyone. The most important thing is to find what you enjoy and make learning fun.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered a lot today. Practical phrases, those little nuances that make a difference. We even talked about the power of language itself. But more than anything, I hope we've inspired you to embrace the journey of learning English, to be confident, curious, and adventurous.
You got it. And remember, even a few phrases, if you say them confidently, can open up so many doors. So keep practicing, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep connecting with people. You never know what amazing things you'll discover on this language learning adventure.
All right, welcome back for the final part of our deep dive on everyday English.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We have greetings, daily routines,
Shopping, restaurant.
even travel. But I think along the way, we found something even more interesting.
What was that?
It's like the power of language itself.
It's more than just words and rules.
It really is.
It's about connecting, understanding different cultures.
Yeah.
It's about expanding how you see the world.
You know, when we started this deep dive, I was thinking mostly about helping you learn phrases for specific situations, but now I'm more excited about how this knowledge can help you connect with people on a deeper level anywhere you go.
I couldn't agree more. And that brings us to a really important point, one we haven't talked about enough yet: confidence.
Confidence.
Remember, being fluent isn't about being perfect.
It's not.
It's about being willing to communicate
Okay, yeah.
and being brave enough to make mistakes.
Our source talked a lot about that, embracing those mistakes, using them to learn. They even had a fun exercise for building confidence and fluency.
Oh, right, the parrot technique.
Yeah, the parrot. It sounds kind of silly. But repeating phrases out loud, does that really help?
It really does. You're basically training your mouth to make the right sounds. Like you're building muscle memory, but for your tongue.
Oh, I like that.
And when you engage with the sounds of English, it creates these pathways in your brain that make you more fluent over time.
I've tried it, and honestly, it works. I don't sound exactly like a native speaker yet, but I feel way more confident just getting those words out there.
That's what matters. What about those tricky sounds? The ones that feel impossible to say right? Any strategies for those?
Oh, definitely. One thing is, break those tough sounds down into smaller pieces. Practice each piece until it feels better. Got it.
You can also listen to native speakers. Watch how their mouth moves. Copy them. And don't forget to record yourself. It might feel a little weird at first, but listening back can really help you pinpoint what to work on.
Okay, I'm writing this down. Break it down, copy the native speakers, record myself. I'm ready to take on any English sound now. But, you know, sometimes the hardest part isn't even the sounds themselves. It's that fear. The fear of being judged, of sounding silly.
I think everyone learning a language feels that way.
They do.
It's totally normal. Fluency is a journey, not a race. So don't focus so much on being perfect right away. Instead, celebrate those small wins. Every new word you learn, every time you speak a phrase confidently, those are victories. And when you make mistakes, that just shows you're learning and getting better.
Makes sense. It's about progress, not perfection. And speaking of making things enjoyable, how do we make language learning fun?
Oh, there's so many ways. Watch movies and TV shows in English. Listen to podcasts. Even try reading a book or magazine in English.
I like those ideas.
And don't underestimate the power of finding other language learners, online or in person. You can share tips, practice conversations, support each other. It makes a big difference.
You know, it's amazing how many resources there are for language learners now. Apps, online courses, you can even find a language exchange partner. It's like the whole world is your English classroom.
That's a great way to put it. And with all these options, there's definitely something out there that will work for you. The key is to find what you enjoy and make learning a fun part of your life.
That's a great point. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive on everyday English.
We did it.
We explored practical phrases, uncovered some of the hidden meanings.
And even discovered how powerful language can be.
Most importantly, I hope we've inspired you to keep learning English
With confidence.
curiosity, and a sense of adventure.
Remember, even just a few phrases spoken with confidence can open up so many doors for you. So keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep connecting with people. Who knows what amazing things you'll find. on this language learning journey.